Hello, Mr. Suru Ramakrishna here. Basically, we are discussing another topic, that is city creation. In city creation, basically, we are going to discuss one topic. Basically, one person basically asked the question basically uh, to another person basically. Have you fucked basically? Then he told that basically which kind of question basically you are asking in software industry topic basically. This was actually question basically because this is connected with the software industry only. So one of the person told that the software industry people basically creates human souls and they creates child also basically. So from software basically they create human souls basically, and that is basically dumped into the human body, and they do the process basically, and after that basically the child happens basically, and that child is basically called as software child basically. So that was very dangerous basically question basically. Have you fucked basically? So what actually, how basically the software industry do the process basically? How software human souls basically connects to first to man body and then basically to woman body basically. If man body is basically not attracting the human soul's data basically, then basically woman basically will not get the human souls basically inside her body basically. So one of the person told that this basically how it is managed, but here the condition is both women and men basically and other group basically is not supposed to be done nasbandi basically. They should be cleared basically. So one of the person told that how this is managed basically. So that was very dangerous question basically. How this was managed basically. That was actually very dangerous question basically. So this is actually very dangerous topic basically, which is connecting to the world population and how basically the this design basically is created and how basically India basically birth process basically has generated. This is everything done basically. After that only basically I am talking basically. After that only basically I am talking. So how basically India has generated their birth process basically. One of the my friend basically asked the question basically. So I basically asked the one of the person basically, अरे भाई तेरे को कितने बच्चे? That means how many child basically you have? He told that basically two basically. Then one of the satellite person basically told that basically satellite basically person was connected with me basically. He told that basically I basically know basically how he basically how basically the birth process basically has happened basically. So he explained basically me basically that when basically he was basically having his first night basically, that time basically the human souls basically is not attracted. Then basically second night like this basically that day basically got gone basically. Then basically they told that basically uh, you have to do something. Then basically they told that basically there are basically many system basically created for the birth process basically. So one of the person told that basically you need the child of birth basically of computer basically, or basically you need the natural child basically. Computer child means chemical child basically. So which child basically you want basically? So one of the person told that basically I want natural basically. So natural which means it will be the natural process basically. Computer means the computer system basically who created the process basically. According to that basically the process is going to happen basically. So one of the person told that basically when you eat this fruit basically, you both basically, when you eat both basically men and women basically you eat this fruit basically, that time basically fruit means you have to eat certain level of fruits basically. For example 2 kilo, 3 kilo, 5 kilo, 10 kilo, 100 kilo, whatever basically it might be the calculation basically. For example they eated 3 kilo or basically 2 kilo fruits basically one day basically, and they basically had a sexual activity basically. That time basically the activation of that blood cells basically will happen basically. Assume that basically they eaten the food basically, fruit basically, both basically 2 kilo basically, that means 4 kilo they had the fruits basically. That means immediately the blood is not going to create, it will take process for at least basically 2 to 3 days basically. So assume that basically after 2 to 3 days basically the birth process basically started. and the power company and basically the some group basically tracked that basically this person basically has taken that fruit basically. So immediately basically they will supply the power supply data basically, and according to the power supply and according to the calculation basically which is made by the software company basically, the human souls basically first basically it attracts to the man body basically, and then basically after certain days basically the woman body also basically attracts the human souls basically. Then basically the sperm basically gets generated basically, and then basically the according to the human souls data basically mapped basically the sperm calculation basically happens according to the blood cells created basically, and then basically the birth lady's body basically whatever the medical science basically says that basically that is in front of the world basically that everybody knows basically, but that basically is real basically, that is real basically. So that basically process happens, that basically then basically the lady's birth also basically happens like that. Sorry, ladies also basically attracts the human souls basically. So one of the person told that basically while doing the sexual activity the human souls gets attract basically, or basically how basically. So that was very dangerous question basically, that was actually a very dangerous question basically. So one of the person told that that is actually one trigger basically, when basically it attracts to the men body and when basically it attracts to the woman body basically. That was actually very dangerous question basically. One of the person basically asked the question basically. So he told that basically this basically attracts like this basically, as in that basically the software company told that basically like this basically things is going to happen, like this basically things is going to happen, like that basically the things is going to happen, and like this basically the men condition is going to satisfy basically, then basically the woman condition basically like that, this that basically each and every stuff basically is going to happen, and then basically the calculation is going to happen basically. So one of the person told that basically, assume that basically because few people says that basically few people's house basically are tracked basically. Track means they basically continuously basically keeps on watching 24 hours each and every house basically, whatever activity they are doing basically, whatever activity basically they are doing basically. I will tell you how basically, just a minute, just a minute. I will just tell you basically how basically I track this basically. Internet is very slow actually. I am using the Jio basically, phone mobile basically, Jio SIM basically. So Jio SIM basically at night time basically it's always slow basically. If data is basically very less than basically it's too slow basically. So see basically so see basically there is one video basically. See basically this is that video basically, and this basically lots of people say that it's fact basically.
जल्दबाजी में ग्रोसरी लेने के चक्कर में मैं बन गया था चक्कर मैं से
आज के टाइम में स्टॉक मार्केट ट्रेड करना बहुत आसान हो गया। खाली आपको ऐप डाउनलोड करना है और बटन दबाना है बाय।
In fact, speaking of the earlier incident that took place, he flatly denied the charges of moral policing and even claimed that he has done absolutely nothing. Hindu Yuva Vahini chief defended the
China NC, what is very disturbing is not that you've got people complaining.
So in next video basically we are going to see that video basically that is connected with the